So kicking off the no flame challenge with Peacekeepers, we can actually trick this Cannoneer to get the last strong box, giving us now a grand total of 200 out of 200 gems on Peacekeepers. The peak of my Spyro career. Let me just pique your interest with Wizard Peak, and I think I'm all out of peak puns, so let's get on with things, shall we? Where I'm missing 70 gems. All of the gems are from the exact same sources. They're from enemies too tall for me to charge, and seemingly too out of reach for the supercharge, because as always that's the only method we can use in these circumstances. What are we missing then? Let's go through it, let's dissect it. We're missing 1, 2, 3, 4 Norks just in the starting area alone. We're also missing an Elder Wizard who's hiding his big blue behind up there on that ledge, giving us the cold shoulder nonetheless, not even paying us any attention. You'll notice he's looking away from us purely because he's expecting the only method of us to attack him is by going through the alternative path that we looked at earlier. To the right over here we can follow this alternative path and we can ultimately get to a whirlwind and glide down and kill him. That doesn't help us in any way. You see, even if we could supercharge into this room, number one, we can't jump even from that step high enough to get up to that wizard. And number two, we can't take the supercharge around here, and even if we could, the whirlwind is the only way that we can actually get to the higher part of the level up there, which is how we glide down to him. So let's go through the level a bit further, see if we can see anything else that will give us any help. Whoop. I'm joining the Spyro Pro Club again by getting hit on the head with that club. So what do we see in this room? We see another Elder Wizard, but this time he's not giving us the cold shoulder. He's actually revealing his icy glare, very pixelated though it may be, over his beard. And once again we have the problem of he's really high up, and even though we can glide down to him using the alternative path, that doesn't help us again. And we saw that the supercharge doesn't seem to want to come up into this room, because this will happen. I'm going to show you now. We charge down, up the other ramp, the supercharge will fizzle out. And just to show I'm not full of bullshit, let's do it the other way. Fizzles out again. That's not going to help us at all. So that's a magical mystery that we need to figure out a bit later on. Other enemies we missed, we actually go through the level here. We actually got these two club guys, and we even got the Elder Wizard who's making his way to the highest peak in Wizard Peak. We actually even got him and intercepted him. We also got this enemy here. The supercharge was able to get us just far enough and up this step to collide with that enemy, but even then it cut out almost immediately after touching him. We was actually kind of lucky for it to not bounce us immediately off him and actually add that Nork to the tally. Going ahead, we're missing 2 more Norks that are about to be spawned. One right here, who, if we can get a good run up, maybe we can cheese it and get up to him, but it's not going to be an easy feat. You could say it's going to be abominably hard. And then we've got this even more seemingly impossible Nork up here, who's up a flight of stairs, and we all know how the supercharge feels about going up rather than down, especially jumping upstairs. So there's our 2 dilemmas. Luckily for you, the viewers, this has not been a pointless detour. Just cast a spell, and abracadabra, I found a way that can help us out a little bit with this problem. So this enemy, we found out that we can actually do it with a bit of luck. So let's try and get that luck again. See if I can be as lucky and get it pretty quickly this time. Whoops. Be as lucky, he said, and get it this time. He then proceeds to go straight off a cliff. Perhaps it'd be better if I approach it this way. Less risk of death. Huh. Where's the enemy gone? Oh, we hadn't made him yet. Oh, what a dick. That was pretty funny, I guess, in a way, but what a dick. Oh, we're still going, look. Okay. We're not done with this level yet. We're gonna do the U-turn jump that gives us enough speed to make it up here, and again defeat multiple enemies from the start of the level. That U-turn jump has really changed the way supercharging works, in my opinion. If you can actually hit the ramp just right, you have more than enough speed to conquer previously unconquerable places. If you're wondering why I just leapt to my death there, it's because I need to reset the path of the first wizard so that we can actually intercept him while he's creating his abominable snowman. Otherwise he's on the ledge and he's much too high for us to reach, but we can actually intercept him before he reaches that point. This time we're going over to the right and we're going to swing up and actually get this enemy. Can we get the final enemy at the highest peak of this peak? Yes, yes, and yes, we can. That's 490 gems. All thanks to that extra swing that we get by doing a jump at the top of the second ramp. It gives us enough speed to actually make it to places I thought was not possible. But now, pay attention to this enemy because this is the final boss in the whole game. I wish. Sadly, we cannot complete Wizard Peak because he is what stands in the way from us accomplishing that goal. I really wanted to believe that I could 100% this level after all of the fancy tricks we managed to pull off, but it was not to be. He will be frozen up there till the end of time, forever giving us his frosty stare. Branching off into a different area now, we're back to treetops. The level that's the master of the supercharge, and that's my game, considering I can't, fling. So we need to figure out if there's anything worth getting in treetops using supercharge, because that's the best shot we've got. What are we missing? We're missing enemies. We're missing these enemies, to be exact, at the very start of the level. That's not all, but we are missing those. We're missing one. We're missing two. We're missing 3 and 4. We can obviously kill the banana boys without flame, but that's not the focus of this right now. These enemies clearly have not forgiven us for defeating Nasty Nork 3 episodes ago at this point, and they've decided to keep their grudge nice and strong, just like their biceps. They have refused to lay down their arrow through their top knot and let us pass through peacefully, which is not good for me because I'm already sparksless and I need to get through that damn window so I can show you the rest of what we're missing. And that's not going to happen. In fact, I'm going to get super kicked. Okay, we got through. We are also missing these two enemies. They're all at the start of the level practically, except for one, which we'll get to later. But the enemies that we're missing at the start of the level, how do we get to them? Because supercharge doesn't seem like a viable solution to this situation. If we could supercharge, this would be a really easy thing to do. We'd get our way through the corridor, maybe jump up through that window and get a few more enemies. But the problem is the supercharge really doesn't like this area of the level because it's really high up, and the higher the supercharge is, usually the slower it goes. The lower you go through, you go from white to yellow to red, and then of course you have more speed. So we also have these two enemies, which I'm going to try and trigger their kick so I can bypass them. And just behind me to the right there are a few fan chests, I think there's 3 to be exact, which we need to also figure out a way to get. Method? Well, there's only one. It's a supercharge ramp right here. And it got me thinking. In Wizard Peak, we was able to actually figure out a way to get back up the supercharge ramp by using a special kind of U-turn jump which maintains our speed, allowing us to get back up ramps and not have the supercharge immediately fizzle out. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Problem is, there's quite a distance to get over there, and if we land on that log right ahead of us, which is the closest point of access, the supercharge will 100% of the time fizzle out. However, I don't know if the same can be said for the lower ledge there, because it's actually lower than where we are right now, and the supercharge prefers to keep running if you're actually going down rather than up. We've established this. Before I do that, I'm just going to quickly show you the other enemy that we are missing, because we are actually missing one more enemy that we can get. The other enemy that we're missing, we have to go over here, and it's not the first enemy that's directly ahead of us, it's actually an enemy that's around an almost 180 degrees U-turn. You can just see him there. That's another enemy we've got to figure out if there's a way to supercharge there without hitting that step or just careening into this wall, because that angle is tight. But I'm nothing if I am not a trier, and I'm going to tree me best to get everything that I've just pointed out to you. Let's see how it goes. Moving swiftly over to treetops, there's a very easy enemy that I missed that just requires a little bit of creativity on the supercharge ramp, but not too much. Just going to charge over to this area where we follow the red thief. You can see him flaming ahead of us. And we're going to take out our infernal rage on this dude here. As you can see, I got that last guy, but I missed this guy in front of him. So all in all, not too bad. Dodge a banana while I'm at it. This ain't Mario Kart. Some more supercharging fun. We're actually going to run down this ramp, and if you actually hit the bottom of the ramp correctly, you have enough speed so that you enter yellow mode, and you can actually make it back across this gap and get these two enemies. This supercharged ramp really elevates Spyro's no flaming career, and we're going to rinse and repeat it to get 3 fan chests, using the Irish pronunciation of the fan chest there. That's a great amount of gems that we've added. Of course, the gem tally there in the top left is not correct. Just remember that. We're not actually through though with supercharging on treetops, because if we go down the usual route that you're supposed to go with the supercharge and swing over here to this ramp, following the path that the red thief usually takes, we're going to spiral out of control, or should I say Spyro out of control. If we do a sharp left here, we can actually get enough speed to get all of the enemies that we missed at the very beginning of the level. Talk about a leap of faith, or should I say leaf of faith. It's amazing what you can achieve on treetops if you're just willing to branch out your way of thinking, am I right? I think we got to the root of the problem of treetops. It's safe to say that treetops is no longer a thorn in my side. Jacques. This is where we're at now. We're at the level Jacques, where we're missing quite a lot of gems. Of course, there's the boss himself, the master of tricks and party favors, Jacques in the box. And we established that we cannot actually progress through the level due to the fact that you need to flame him to chase him, even though it doesn't do any damage. Ow. But that got me thinking. RJ Waters in his no glide challenge was able to do some pretty incredible jumps with his bounce jump technique. So I stood on this platform and I looked around and thought, okay, where can I apply a jump like that? The return home portal's right up there with 75 gems sitting peacefully waiting for our dragon claws to get their hands on them. Wait, that doesn't make sense, but oh well. Dragon claws, okay. And then I was busy looking left and right of a way to get up there, and I was like, oh, there's a place right in front of me. A platform with a whirlwind that will do most of the work for us. Question is, how do we get up there? Because right here we have a small platform that is supposed to be elevated when we flame Jacques. He does us a little favour in the level by giving us that elevation. But then I thought, well, this platform is not that high. Maybe with the right amount of bounce and love and luck and love, we might be able to actually progress in this level without bothering Jacques at all. Nah. Surely that's just a fantasy, right? Now we're in Jockeys, where I managed to bypass beating the boss entirely by doing a well-timed bounce jump, actually made famous by RJ Waters 2 in his No Glide challenge. I was able to use that technique to completely bypass Jacques, which doesn't sound that important because Jacques has a lot of gems inside of him, but we almost forgot that at the very end of the level, just before the return home portal, if I stop doing a little dance and actually get up to the return home portal, we go up this whirlwind and we can see Jacques down there to the left, but there's 75 gems just sat here, which is huge. That's a lot of gems just to get from a little bit of effort. Shameless Twitch plug, I really like to stream Jacques Box Party Pack, if you want to follow me over on Toonie TV. Nothing like the calm before the storm. Blowhard, with what I thought was his big nose, sorry to break it to you, is still not obtainable for us. You do need flame, there's nothing I can do about that. And we need to flame him to trigger the lowering of this door. You cannot get through that gap, I've tried many times. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to give up though, because that section of the level up there to the right on that bridge, I'm going to tell you now, that is actually reachable. And that is not hot air that I'm actually spewing there. That is a fact. But rather than me talk anymore, because there's not really anything to show you in this level that's down here, it's all beyond there, the stuff that I need, let me just go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. I figured out if you charge into this mountain at just the right time when he's about to attack you, you'll actually proxy up from his attack and end up on the latter part of the level. A classic example of taking damage to save time. Which means that we get to bypass that door that it's kind of annoying. It's got a little hole at the top, so you think that maybe you can charge and glide up there, but nope. So we actually managed to go through the level now in reverse order and rescue an extra dragon.
Thanks for releasing me, Spyro. You have no idea how long I've been trapped in crystal. And, neither do I. Who are you again?
I'm out of here.
Now, again, the dragon count's wrong because I had to re-go through the game again on a different save, but all of that will be amended in the final score. We had to go through this stage in reverse order and not go ahead first to double back, because there's a part of the level that you end up too low down to get back up, and it would mean killing myself and having to get the proxy again. The proxy is actually kind of luck based on whether or not you can get high enough, but... oh. So these wizards are a little bit different to the other wizards. They are too big to charge. Usually the druids that move terrain, you can actually flame or charge them. They're pretty weak enemies, but not these guys. We actually can't, as you just see there. We are going to have to leave the gems from Blowhard behind because obviously we can't flame and he doesn't progress through the level regardless. But we can get another firework crate with 10 gems and we can charge our way to victory on this level. We don't get 100%, but we actually end up with a pretty respectable score of 285 gems, so that's pretty awesome. Blowhard's not going to rain on our parade today. Instead, we'll continue on our stormy ascent. Flight levels. 5 in the game, 300 gems per flight level, 1500 gems overall. We managed to get quite a good amount from arches and rings, and that's okay, don't get me wrong. But we are actually missing quite a lot of gems due to us not being able to get destructible chests and a few Norks. Now, I've all but given up on getting the Norks, but what about the chests? We're having a change of pace now and going from boss fights to instead a gauntlet of flight levels, where I figured out a trick that will enable us to get all of the crates in some of the levels, not every single flight level this is possible. You can just perch your way on some of these podiums, but you'll notice now I'm landing in the water and not dying. That's because the game is scripted to instant kill me if I drop into the water. If, however, you find a way to charge in the water, then Sparks is actually still there. He's invisible, but he's still there and will take the damage for us. So we can actually land in the water 3 times just like normal Spyro, and then the 4th time obviously we'd die. Sunny Flight only had one particularly difficult set of boxes, and that was the very first 2, but the rest are on wide podiums, easy for us to land on. So yeah, we get an extra 60 gems from Sunny Flight, and there ain't no sunshine when Spyro's gone. Onto the hardest flight level, we're going to go over to Wild Flight. The Icy Flight and Crystal Flight, this isn't actually possible. We're able to get that box landing beautifully right there. And there's again some wide podiums over here we can land, and we can charge jump over to get them. And I managed to find a sort of impossible way to get these 2 chests that are on the water by losing my sparks, but it's still pretty cool. Take a dive here, 1 sparks, 2 sparks, 3 sparks, and you just have to glide at a perfect moment there, land up onto this archway and drop down. They don't call me a boxing champion for nothing, hey Spyro? Is there anything on TV that's not about boxes? So yep, that's another 60 gems from Wild Flight. And then we go to Icy Flight, where I previously thought I could get 0 gems. It was the only flight level where I got 0. But again, using... actually, you don't even need sparks on this level. You just actually need to be persistent and land really well on the platforms. I don't know why I gave up so easily the first time I did this level. I did try and charge the chests before, but I gave up too easily apparently, because I actually got this on my first try. You just land on each platform at the right spot, charge as soon as Spyro's feet touch the floor, and you can get every single chest without even abusing the sparks glitch. To be fair, these flight levels were really testing my patience. They were not a barrel of laughs, they were my arch enemies. But we can ring the bell on the most we can get from the flight levels. I'm going to switch over to Haunted Towers now, where I was ghosted by quite a few gems. It's Haunted Towers, where we had the towering task of a whole section of a level being unreachable for us. So we usually start the level over there to the left, and we managed to explore the lower regions of this level from the start all the way to that fairy to the right, which kisses us with fire, which is supposed to be used to destroy all the metal enemies. Now this metal enemy here we're not even supposed to have been able to get past, but we did, and we actually got to experience at least this lower end of the Haunted Towers. The tower itself is actually directly in front of us. Appears like the top right of that tower doesn't exist anymore. And we didn't actually get to enter there, because over here there is a big wall that stops us from getting up to the whirlwind over there. And there's also an indestructible enemy and a big steel door that can only be destroyed by Super Flame, which we don't have. So it gave me an idea. I wanted to explore the rest of the Haunted Towers, but I also didn't want to break the challenge in any way. So how could I, a small and lowly unenchanted purple dragon, explore the rest of the Haunted Towers level? Well, all I can say is that it's all thanks to the inspiration of one guy that is supposed to be my enemy. That guy is Blowhard. He was the wind beneath my wings, the wind in my sails, the rush. He was the storming force that I needed to figure out a way to get to the next part of the level. It's utilizing the same kind of proxy that allowed me to take damage to save time in the Blowhard level. These wizards here are not too dissimilar to Blowhard. They have elemental storm attacks just like he does. And actually, if you enter into the wizard while it's attacking, you get a little bit of a proxy, as I'm about to demonstrate here. What if I could get that proxy to elevate me instead? Jump in the middle of that wizard's attack animation and it actually proxies me upwards, allowing me to skip the door that would usually require super flame. There is actually another way on the PAL version to get up here. The bridge that you saw at the start of the video, just past that wizard. If you time your jump pixel perfect on PAL version, you can actually glide from that bridge to the area as well. But luckily for me, I don't have to do that because it takes a long time, and instead I could have abused the proxy. And now, of course, I have access to a huge amount of content that I previously missed.
Hold your horns! Here comes Spyro!
Patience, little one. You'll soon have the opportunity to battle the one who matters most. Nasty Nork.
That was the dragon Lutalo. And yeah, so in here we can now use Supercharge to access some extra doors and extra areas of the level. I'm gonna kill this Grenadier, and there's another fairy that can kiss us and give us Super Flame, but of course we're not going to use that. Everything that I do on this level needs to be done using just Supercharge. So back at the top of the ramp, we're going to go down and take a... Oh, that didn't go as well as planned. I wanted to do a little bit more than just open a door. We're going to run back to the top and try again. Rah! For Valhalla! And we're going to swing around and we're going to break open this door so that we don't have to worry about getting that wizard proxy again. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to try again, and this time now I have free access to some of the suits of armor at the beginning of the level. I'm going to take out this guy that guards the last area of the game, of the level rather, and I'm going to kill that Nork. There's a few gems over there, but once you're over there you're kind of stuck behind the suits of armor, so I'm going to save that area for a little bit later. I'm going to go back down and we're going to go through the second door this time and open this strong box. Bring us up to 176 gems now. We can clear this area, get an extra one up, because we're going to be losing a few of those over the next couple of challenges I have to do. Collect the actual gems from the strong box that I charge right through. Usually I cut to the part where I'm at the top of the ramps to save all the running around, but in this last stages of the challenge run, it's very rare that I get to get this much extra stuff, so I'm going to treat this almost like doing the level for the first time, because we only got about a quarter of the way through the level in the standard video that was already out. And using the Supercharge we can go all the way back to the beginning of the level, and we're going to try and take out as many suits of armor in one shot. Not as many as I hoped. I think we could have got an extra 2 more. I'm going to cut back up to the top of the ramp, so it'll take a long time otherwise. Then we get a strong box and we die. So that's why I said these 1-ups are going to come in handy. Bring us up to 280. Okay, we're doing pretty good. We were already doing much better than we originally thought we could do on this level. What amazes me with levels like this is just how it's possible to bypass usually impassable obstacles in the game, and just the crazy stuff that you have to come up with. That wizard proxy was not something I ever thought I'd end up actually doing. Alright, that time we got the actual target of the first run that I tried, and that was to get that fan case. That fan case is actually at quite a tight angle and it's pretty difficult to get, but I got it eventually, and it's what I wanted to do on my first attempt. But okay, and if I remember correctly, there's one more suit of armor that I need to get, which is over there to the sharp left of the door at the very start of the level, which is going to be one of the hardest of the suits of armors to get in this level so far. So yeah, a lot of this level now is typical what can I get with supercharge challenge as opposed to anything else. Take a sharp right, take a sharp left, and over the bridge. We don't want to build up too much speed because this angle's not particularly easy. Suit of armor I missed. Oh, okay, that didn't go as planned. Let's try again. At the same time, though, I'm kind of happy because I didn't realize I hadn't got that suit of armor. So sometimes accidents end up to your benefit. Sharp left here, and the guy's... Okay, I actually didn't know there was that guy there either. We're on 0 lives as well, so I can't really just throw lives away, so I need to try not to reset the level and have to try and get that proxy again. It's not a difficult proxy per se, but it does take a few minutes to get right sometimes. Whoa, hold your horses, nearly went bolting off the edge. Run like the wind, bullseye. Okay, so that's the lower area of the level pretty much in the bag. Just gonna go over that save spot so that it remembers what enemies we've defeated. Nothing worse than them coming back. And I'm actually gonna have to go over to this area, kill a few Norks, and leave the stage, which is something I wanted to avoid if possible, but you can't. So we can get a few grenadiers, a few chests, and I did try a few times to get around that guy. Seems like that it's not particularly possible to get around that guy without using either Supercharge or Super Flame, and I haven't quite mastered the Supercharge to get up there yet. I'm wondering if it is possible. I think it is. I think I just need to try a bit harder to do it. Instead, we're going to bypass this area and go to a different area where I know there is some stuff I can definitely get for now. Even though we can supercharge over to this area of the level, we can't get that strong box. It's much too high. There's a whirlwind, but the whirlwind will cancel out the supercharge, so we're going to have to leave that strong box for Pano. This is the supposedly secret area of Haunted Towers, and as a child this was one of the areas I figured out last. Friendly reminder, the dragon count's not correct again, that will be fixed later. We're going to go around and we're going to get an extra blue gem over here, and there's a firework crate along with 2 chests. Of course we're going to have to take damage because of the whole no flaming thing. And if you drop down that square to the left, you actually loop back to the area with the fairy and lots of doors to choose from. One of my favourite areas of the game, actually. It's like, oh, what's behind door number 1? Now, you're supposed to charge up here to beat a little bit of a time puzzle to get to this wizard who is reanimating those suits of armour. And you're supposed to go back and defeat them with his fairy's kiss, which blew open a chest that I can blow open anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We're now actually trapped behind this enemy, and even though he means us no harm, it means that we're going to have to exit the level. I think I can say after this Haunted Towers experience, it's been an enchanting experience, and after all of the supercharging, I can safely say I'm a Spyro wizard. Nah, screw that, I'm not done with Haunted Towers yet. Supercharging needs to be used in this challenge. I'm going to swing around and it will put me at a beautiful angle so I can jump up to the end of the level and get all of the missing gems in this area in one fell swoop. And get zapped for my troubles. And that's about all I can do with Haunted Towers because the other section of the level is much too far for me to get Supercharge over to. I can reach there with Supercharge, but I can't actually do anything with the Supercharge over there. So I'll take my 418 gems and get the hell out of here. Wait. Wait. Do you hear something? Onto Lofty Castle now, where we're missing a measly 5 gems. And those 5 gems are all in one location, and that is inside an enemy. That fat floating Nork is the last thing that stands between me and 100%ing another level. Question is, can you get to a guy that is so high up, so far from the supercharge ramp, and so full of disdain for Spyro? Well, can we, punk? We can dream, can't we? So let's take a breakdown of what methods we used to get over here in the first place, because we did get this far before. It's not a new thing for us. We came from the supercharged tower up there, and if you look right between Spyro's big V horns right now, you'll see the actual top of the supercharged ramp where we start the whole process. We then have to come around and we ultimately get to that green/teal area over there. I'm going to try and flame towards it, where the secret gems were hidden. From there, we need to have enough speed to get onto the bridge and jump over this hedge directly ahead of us and land on this balcony here. We then have to almost immediately do another jump so that we can get down over to here. But that doesn't really help us. That helped us get this guy, and it helped us get this guy. But how on earth can getting over to this area reach a Nork so far away and so high? Surely this is a pig in the sky, a pie in the sky.
I got the balloon and he was sent plummeting to his
case scenario. But what if I was to tell you that the solution to all of our problems is sitting directly ahead of where I'm standing right now? Maybe you'd call me a little bit manic. Of course, we're going to start the process at the supercharged ramp where we do nothing unusual or out of the ordinary to start with until this part here, where we go to the left and land on this hedge so we can maintain enough speed to jump from the bridge onto the balcony over to the fountain, tap A just before the rim, and it actually launches us up so that we can obtain the last gem of Lofty Castle.
Yes! I got the balloon and he was sent plummeting to his doom.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places.
Being another level that has a supercharged ramp, it is no surprise that Twilight Harbor was a level that you would see me revisiting. Another level that shouldn't have anything else we can obtain, but I'm about to prove myself wrong. Let's start with this enemy. Surely this enemy is obtainable. He's at the very start of the level, not even close to an explosive. I can't charge his grenades to kill him in that method. And the supercharged ramp is nowhere close to this enemy. So surely we're going to write that enemy off as he whacks me. So forgetting about that enemy completely, like seriously, don't let him haunt your dreams, Haunted Tower style. Oh, enemies, I forgot. I'm not going to be flaming even though I've already beat these guys before. So what are we missing other than that one totally ungettable guy? Well, we're missing gems up there for a start. Quite a whole load of them. About 30, I think. And what else are we missing? We're missing the gems and enemies that are directly above my head right now. I'm going to go to this side because there's less chance of death. Enemies and gems that are up there that ordinarily we cannot get because supercharge won't get us up there, right? Wrong. So ordinarily what we need to do, and excuse my flaming, is we need to use the supercharge on this drawbridge to careen up and get that enemy, and then from there we can glide to the 3 gold gems that we saw before. But that's not my style. We're not going to cheat. We're going to do things legitimately. We are going to do a supercharge or series of supercharges that are so amazing that you will not believe them. But don't just take my word for it. Take my charge for it. We've learnt a lot from Blowhard to give us the idea for Haunted Towers, and now it's Lofty Castle's turn to give us an idea. We're going to charge down the supercharge ramp, make a 90-degree turn and tap A just before hitting that barrier, and guess what? It careens us upwards just the same way as Lofty Castle did. That technique won't end here, so just bear that in mind. It will come in handy. I won't give any spoilers as to where. All around me are familiar. Anyway, Yeah, so that marks the end of getting up here. We got an enemy, and I'm just checking around now to see if there's any gems on either side. You know, Insomniac always puts gems around corners, and I don't memorize the gem locations like some Spyro nerds. Yep, there's not one around here, but I know for a fact there's a one up to the right here. I never forget about that. Now, using the other challenge, there's a different method to get up here, which you will see. Whoops, you didn't see anything. I'm going to load back just to make sure that that didn't happen. That was all in my dreams. But there is another method to get up here, which is equally interesting, so you'll have to wait and see for that, considering I did the other challenge first. But now we can fly across here and get the 3 gold gems that we were missing. And that marks us as done on this level, right? Right? Surely. Surely not. Surely that enemy I told everyone to forget about. Surely not. No, it can't be. But it can. We're going to supercharge. As before, we're going to jump at the edge of the ramp to get extra speed so we can jump over here. And I found pausing in between makes the supercharge less likely to cut out. Jump up here, jump over the bridge, down here, pause again. Quick, Lofty Castle saves our asses again using that technique. And oh, would you believe it? We just pulled off probably one of the most impossible supercharges. Right? Supercharging can't get any more crazy than that. Right? Well, have I got news for me?
Worn out faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere.
And that, my friends, are what dreams are truly made of. Thank you everyone for watching this ridiculous challenge. Look out for the next episode where you will see the other half of the challenge, and then an episode after that where I will compare scores side by side. Until then, see you soon.